Hey everyone, it's Brett Burns with The Prepared Man. I want to talk to you a little bit about a product that I'm currently testing in the field. We're going to do an unboxing on camera here and just do some initial impressions of the Balsang BSM-200 Wireless Lavalier microphone system. Now, before we take it to the table and pull it apart, let's talk a little bit about some of the features that this microphone offers. Now, this is a 2.4 gigahertz 2 microphone or 2 transmitter wireless microphone system. Some of the things that I was looking for in a wireless microphone system is it needed to be small, it needed to run on its own power, and I really wanted something that I could hook to standard stereo inputs. Now, in the past, I've bought several different microphones to test that I had to use adapters with and things of that nature, and that just wasn't going to cut it for this project. So I was really looking for something that would remain flexible, remain durable, and be small enough to fit inside my pack. So when I'm in the field filming, I can use that to create content in real time. I needed quality of audio. I also needed a microphone input for a lavalier mic like the one I'm currently wearing. Now, the great thing about the Balsang BSM-200 is it meets all of those categories. It has 2 transmitters, which means I can either mic 2 people, or I could actually use one mic at a time and just recharge my receiver. It comes in at a whopping 23 grams on your person, so you're never going to notice it, and it doesn't add a lot of weight to my pack also. I plan on 3D printing a little hard case to put those in, and that's all that will ride in my pack is the microphone and receivers. Now, it's also, since it's a 2.4 gigahertz wireless microphone system, it has a pretty good range. It actually has a more impressive range than the DJI Osmo Pocket 2 microphone that I'm currently using. One of the biggest problems that I run into with the Osmo Pocket 2 is I can't use the wireless transmitter to actually watch and monitor my video and the microphone at the same time. It's just not something they build in as a feature. Maybe it's something they'll fix in the future, I really hope, because it's really annoying to either have to pick between a wireless microphone or wireless video. They shouldn't overlap, and quite frankly, they need to go back to the old wireless transmitter that broadcasts 2.4 or 5 gigahertz, so this microphone will work. It's a 5 gigahertz microphone, and I'm just not happy with it overall. Now, when we talk about the Balsang BSM-200, probably some of the best features that it offers is the battery life. It's 6 hours, and I don't have to worry about my Osmo Pocket battery to carry that. It's small, it's dependable, and it seems to be a pretty good solid system. Before we move on, I would like to offer a disclaimer that since it's a 2.4 gigahertz wireless microphone system, Wi-Fi can cause it to have some intermittent cutting in and out. In the field, that's never going to be a factor for me. I've also noticed that Bluetooth can impact it in some ways, or receiving cellular telephone calls. Rarely a factor for me, so I really don't factor that into my review. But let's just take it to the table. I want to talk to you a little bit about my initial impressions. We'll go through the box, we'll look at what they sent me, and then we'll do a breakdown, a quick review of some of its strong points, some of its weaknesses, and my overall just initial impressions of the Balsang BSM-200. Stick with me, folks. So folks, this is what they sent me in the mail. I will say that it was available on Amazon.com, and I'll put a link down in the description below, and they actually sent me my review item from Amazon as well. This is the Balsang BSM-200. 2-channel wireless lavalier microphone system. It says it's for YouTubers like me. Hey, alright. It does support 2 microphones. It's a 2-people microphone system. That's awesome. That's one of the things that we like to hear. It does have a rechargeable battery, and according to all of the notes that I've read on it, it says about 6 hours. I've found that to be fairly accurate so far. It does have a built-in microphone as well as a stereo input. That's always good for me, so I can actually put things in. I did read in some separate articles that the BSM-200 came in as a mono channel on one side. I have not experienced that. When I put it in my editor, it fills both stereo channels. I can turn on both transmitters, and it will kick them down to mono on both sides, but the sound is great. You'll notice it says it's ultra compact, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute when we actually get it out. It has support for smartphones or camera systems. I'm currently using it on a camera system, but I have tested it on my smartphone and it seemed to work very well. I use the Galaxy S10 Plus right now for some tertiary filming. I've used it on my GoPro Hero 8 Black, my GoPro Hero 7 White. It just works. Now if we flip the box over to the back, you'll see it kind of gives you some contents, and we're not going to go over that because we'll look at it through the unboxing, but you can immediately see how small it is. You see it in hand here, and you're thinking, you know, that's about the size of a book of matches. Well, we're going to take a look at it here in a minute, and I was still surprised even though I looked the box over once I actually got them out. It does talk a little bit here about 2.4 gigahertz receiving range. Big things that you want to note, it says it has a 50-meter range, so that's a little over 150 feet. I'm never going to be that far from my camera. This is southeastern Kentucky, and 150 feet, we're going to have a change in elevation of over 300 feet in most cases. So I don't really worry about that too much. It does have some statistics here in different pieces about the batteries. It's 3.7 volts, 250 milliamp hours. I can charge this on my battery pack that I carry 20,000 milliamp hours when I'm filming. Sometimes I carry 30,000. I can charge it no problem, and I've tested that and it works. It's also charged micro USB, you'll notice from the notes down here at the bottom, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute, why I consider that to be a drawback, but so far I haven't had an issue with that either. So let's go ahead and take a look inside the box. So once I opened the box, and you'll note that my system has already got a little bit of dust on it because I have been carrying it. They provided me with a nice carry pack. It's got a nice handle here that carries the entire kit inside. Before I move on and you start thinking, man, that's almost as big as my first aid kit that I carry in my pack. And it is very similar in size to my first aid kit, but I'm not going to carry this whole kit in the field, and that's why I talked about 3D printing up something to carry it in. So once I opened it, I immediately noticed there's these convenient loops that are elastic, but they're kind of like molly webbing that have all of my microphones and receiver already clipped. There's a couple of cords. This is the aux mix cord that I use for my camera system. They're not 90 degrees, which I appreciate because 90-degree cords have a tendency to break. They're more like a 66 or something like that. There's also an aux cord for regular mixes. This is just a tertiary one as well. It does the same thing this one does, because I can send and receive from transmitters to receivers. There's also one for the telephone. That's the one bag this one came in. There's a dual micro USB charger. So you plug in one USB outlet. It's got two micro USB to charge a receiver and a transmitter, or both receivers at once. And it comes with two, albeit beefy, wired lavalier mics to hook up to those outputs, and then another dual USB charger. And this is just a little silica packet, and it's full disclosure that's in there as well. But let's get to the heart of the matter. There's one other piece that I've already used that I want to show you that they included, and it really tells you that the manufacturer or the company itself is really thinking about its end user. All of my pieces, they look identical, right? You can't tell them apart. So inside this pack was a little bitty set of stickers that I could mark what was what. Because I have a receiver and a microphone. I actually, in my hurry, unboxed this thing and couldn't tell them apart until I read the manual. So now I've got them marked: microphone, receiver, and I know what goes to what. I've got a nice little cold shoe printed that slides right into my Osmo pockets. I can slide that straight in. This actually fits a cold shoe very well, and you just clip it in there and it's good to go. So let's move this stuff out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about these two pieces. So you have the microphone and the receiver. Out here I can clip this into my mix, and all these cords are labeled. Gray side is an input. That goes into my mix. This plugs into the mic input on anything I'm using, the laptop, GoPro, whatever. Nice bungee cable so it doesn't get snagged. That's that end. On the microphone itself, I can clip this on my shirt collar, or I can include a wired lapel mic and bring it up through my shirt like I'm wearing here in the set. All there is to turning them on is power button, sync the first time, they'll sync up and they're good to go. You'll notice that the only other feature on these devices is the micro USB charging port. So that's everything that comes in the box. I do have 2 microphones and a single receiver. I'm most likely only going to be using a single microphone as I film a lot alone. But if I were to do an interview or work with a group, especially my 18th century gear, I can use this. So initial impressions right here on the table before we move on. Look how small these devices are. They're very small. They're light at 23 grams. They're exactly what I was looking for. They have a little pin microphone out. I have noticed that it's pretty sensitive. It's also a separate system than any of my camera gear. I can count on this to do microphone stuff. I can count on my cameras to do camera stuff. So that's what I like. So let's clear the table here. We're going to talk about how to use these devices one last time. I'm going to mic up one just to show you exactly what it would look like. And then you can really count on me to do some testing later on video for you. So give me just a moment. I'm going to reset the camera, pull you back up to me, and we'll just talk about my initial impressions. So initial impressions of the Balsang BSM-200. I'm really impressed. I think it's a nice, small, light microphone receiver that I can put just about anywhere. I can clip it down in my pocket. It can virtually disappear in just a matter of moments. Unbutton my pocket. And I could film just like this. It doesn't have a big awkward footprint. You'll notice that it clips securely. I don't have to worry about it falling out. Or I can go the wired option. I can use this wired microphone with this transmitter. Now, in comparison to my other microphone system that I'm currently employing that I'm not really happy with, you'll notice that the DJI Osmo Pocket microphone is a little bit smaller. It's also considerably more expensive. It also counts on my camera battery to operate. I'm using the do-it-all handle right now to carry this microphone system, and that pulls off of my camera battery. These have their own battery. I think that's a great benefit. Have a standalone microphone system. Like I said earlier, microphone does microphone stuff. My camera does camera stuff, and I don't have to worry about it. Will I still use this microphone? Yes. But the Balsang BSM-200 meets my needs as it's more flexible and it's more robust. Now, one drawback that I noticed is they did not include any dead cats for wind. Now, have I noticed that they're pretty sensitive to wind? No, actually. That little single hole right there, being mindful when you're setting up your shot and knowing that the wind conditions may impact it, has really helped me so far. It's not really sensitive to wind, but I would have liked to have saw a dead cat to clip on that, similar to how the Rode Wireless Go has those clip-ons or something of that nature. I'll probably buy some dead cat socks that will just clip on the top of that. With that being said, in windy conditions, I could always throw one of these wired lavs on, put a dead cat on it, and not worry about it. With that being said, it would have been nice to see that. Other things I would like to have saw in the box is a more robust micro USB splitter. These are pretty flimsy. I actually had a couple of micro USB splitters from some other projects, so I've been using those. I also charge with just a micro USB cable that I have. My battery packs usually come with a couple of different types of cords, and I've got tons of those, so I wasn't really concerned about that, but if I had to nitpick, that would have been something I'd like to see in the pack. It's pretty typical of these companies for their core product to be really good, their peripherals not so much. The add-ons in the pack, they have to save somewhere to come in budget, and I understand that. Now, with that being said, the audio cables that came in this box are great. I haven't had a lot of loss out of them. I haven't noticed a lot of static or interference. I think they're made pretty good quality. They seem to be pretty robust, and I have some backups. I carry a backup in my camera bag, but currently I've just been using it with the one that it came with, and it's been working great. The biggest thing that I have that's not really a complaint but a suggestion is all of my camera gear is USB-C. My phone is USB-C. I would have liked to have saw these upgrade to USB-C. Balsang, when you watch this review or if you see this review, and that's my number one feature recommendation, switch to USB-C. They're much more robust, especially in the field when I'm using them. It's much more robust than micro USB. Does that really impact me? In the long run, probably not, because my drone, my UAV that I carry for footage is micro USB also. I would like to saw that though moving forward. So just to sum it up, it's its own microphone system, its own battery power. It is micro USB, not USB-C. It is 2.4 gigahertz. You can have some impact in Wi-Fi and intense radio ranges within that scope. Great little microphone system so far. I've done a couple of outdoor tests. I've noticed that metal buildings block the signal. That's going to happen. I don't film around metal buildings a lot, so you really don't have to worry about that for my applications, but it's something to be mindful for when you're shooting at 2.4 gigahertz, that you may have interference in an urban setting. When you're shooting in 2.4 gigahertz and you go behind a metal building, it probably isn't going to pick you up. Now, the great thing about that is it's a microphone doing microphone stuff. So I don't have to worry about my Osmo Pocket losing me like it would with Active Track and not being able to pick me back up when I come back in range. So I could actually shoot film, shoot scenes walking on camera out of range, and when I get in range, it will start to pick me up. Now, in the next few days, I plan to do some more testing. I'm going to run this hard for 30 days in the field. I'm going to use it just in my gear, and I'm going to review this item as far as its lasting robustness in my kit. So look forward to another video for it. I've noticed there's not a lot of reviews of this product. It's a fairly new product on the market. So guys, this is Brett Burns with Prepared Man. I'm going to tell you, for this price point and all these features, the Balsang BSM-200 is a serious competitor and something I'm going to keep right here in my pocket in future shoots. Thanks, guys.